Oh, minor Deadlock patch. I wonder what they changed. Maybe they tweaked some numbers, probably nerfed Calico. Soul Lords no longer have special duplication rules before you. Holy shit! So they did some pretty big changes this patch. Honestly, this being a minor patch kind of scares me for the major ones. Surely the videos I've made will still have relevant information. Surely they won't go down to 2 lanes. Surely they won't. There's a few things about this patch that I want to cover, with the first one being the thing that fundamentally changes how Deadlock works and what's possible in the game, and that is candletrooper souls. Before this patch, when the game started, each candletrooper was worth 75 souls, and as long as 2 people were within range when one died, the souls would duplicate, so both people would receive the full amount. This would continue until 8 minutes, at which point troopers would no longer duplicate souls, but split them between nearby allies instead. This basically meant that you almost never wanted to be out of lane before 8 minutes, because if you weren't close enough to duplicate souls, your team would be losing out on half of that wave's value. The most recent patch has changed all of this. Now, candletroopers are worth significantly more souls, with each one being worth 144 souls at the start of the game. But instead of these souls duplicating before 8 minutes, they now always split between allies. The souls, however, much like my wife and I in the divorce, do not split 50-50.
She took everything from me!
If 2 teammates are nearby when a candletrooper dies, they will both get 60% of the total souls that candletrooper would give. If 3 people are around, they'll each get 35% each, 4 people 25%, 5 people 20%, and 6 people 16%. So by having 2 people in each lane collecting troopers, you end up getting an extra 20% of souls from each wave, instead of one person getting 100%. This all has some big implications for early game in Deadlock. Generally, you do want 2 people in each lane to maximize the amount of souls your team is getting, but if you see opportunities to make plays elsewhere on the map, you can now rotate there without giving up as much farm. So if you're playing a character like Lash or Haze, you can look to go gank a lane when the enemy shoves too far in. Ganking is a lot better than it used to be, but you do have to still be careful doing it. Guardians are incredibly impactful early game in Deadlock, as they give 1,650 souls to the team that breaks them, as well as a flex slot when you break 2. If you're going to rotate to other lanes, you have to make sure that your teammate is in a reasonable spot to protect your Guardian before you leave. There is another interesting aspect to consider with all of this though. Whoever gets left alone in a lane gets a lot of souls funneled into them, as they get 100% of the wave instead of 60. So how is it possible to use that to your advantage? I personally think that one of the stronger options for this is going to be funneling souls into one character so that they can get their ult faster. 2 characters that come to mind are Pocket and Seven. Both of them have very impactful ults that can create enough pressure to lead to a Guardian breaking, which, like I said, is basically the most important part of early game. Seven is particularly interesting to me for this. You could funnel souls into him to get him to 3k so he could get his ult. Then he could go to another lane and drop the ult to try to force a Guardian. His lane partner could cover the lane while he was gone to try to catch up on souls. Then because he has a lead, his jungle clear time should be faster than normal for that stage of the game, so he could go and farm camps while his teammate caught up in lane. It's a really cool concept. And if you were doing it, you'd probably want to be on a character like Lash that's useful while they're rotating other lanes and trying to farm the souls into the 7. There's actually already a strat developing for this with Ivy to get her an inflated soul count. Just Google Ivy inflation to learn more. Actually, don't do that. You do have to be careful with funneling strats though. Whoever gets funneled will have a higher soul count than the enemies. And if you kill somebody with a higher soul count than you get extra souls for it. So if you were trying to funnel souls into somebody, but they died in a lane because they were 2v1 because of it, you'd just be giving the enemy extra souls. It's definitely high risk, high reward. And if you guys have any other ideas of cool ways to use funneling, let me know in the comments. The last thing I want to talk about with the trooper changes is something that I talked about in my farming video, and that is that you should never, ever prioritize jungle over catching a wave. It was true before the patch, and with candletroopers being worth even more souls now, it's truer now. At 10 minutes, one medium denizen from a medium jungle camp will give you 77 souls, while one candletrooper will give you 154. If you farming the jungle is causing any troopers to die while nobody's around, you are playing wrong. Now, if you watched my last video, you know I said it would be nice if Earn had an indicator for the comeback mechanic, and lo and behold, Valve listened to me. I know, all in a day's work. Yes, of course I will sign your baby. Unfortunately, the new comeback indicator is not quite as good as I would like. Basically, if your team's far enough behind that the drop-off will be closer to you, the Urn will have these blue candles hovering around it. And if it's closer to the enemy, the candles will be red. It's cool and all, but after looking into it, I found out that the candles only show up for the drop-off location change, not when your team is far enough behind to get comeback souls from the urn. So if an urn gets picked up while one team is 10% ahead and the drop-off location gets moved, then the lead drops to 8%, the urn will still have candles because the drop-off location is set for that urn. But if the team that's behind delivers it, they won't get any comeback souls because they aren't at least 10% behind at the time of delivery. If you don't know how urn comeback souls work, you should check out my last video. Trust me, they are very important. I really think that they should just add some kind of indicator on the HUD when one team has a 10% lead, like even just a dot by the winning team's soul count. They can make it a little image of Yoshi flipping me off for all I care. Like, I just want to stop having to do math in the middle of a Deadlock game, man. Yoshi, I'm tired.
That's too damn bad!
Another change they did is that the first urn can now have a drop-off location change if one of the teams has a 15% lead, whereas before it was always neutral. I was curious if this changed comeback souls on the first urn to require a 15% lead also, but after looking into it, I'm happy to report that it is still just a 10% lead required on the first urn as well for comeback souls. The last thing I want to talk about is the change of Ethereal Shift from a tier 3 to a tier 4 item. It's a pretty huge nerf, and my first instinct was that it's almost always going to be better to just buy Unstoppable now. But thinking on it, I think it's just a lot more situational than it was. Sure, you can use Unstoppable to dodge a Lash ult or a Paradox swap, but you can't use it to dodge a Pocket ult or a Talon Bird. Also, Eshift has a shorter cooldown. The more I think about it, the more I'm shocked that Eshift was ever a 3000 soul item. Like, it's really good in a lot of situations. But let me know in the comments if you still think it's worth buying. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. I'm working on a video about jungling that should be done pretty soon.